When we think of condensation in the building industry, the first thing people think of is wintertime condensation. We've got cold sheathing and warm, moist air from the interior coming into contact with it, which can create mold problems and rot. We have plenty of videos on this. But what about summertime condensation? Not enough people are aware of how much of a problem this actually is, especially if you're located in a hot, humid climate or even a mild coastal climate like Southern California. The problem people tend to forget about is the fact that in these warmer, more humid climates where people are often running air conditioning is that vapor drive is reversed. When it's cold outside, moisture moves from the inside outwards, but during the summertime, that moisture wants to move from the warmer, wetter exterior environment to the cooler, drier interior space. This is part of the second law of thermodynamics, simplified. The greater the temperature and humidity delta, the stronger the vapor drive. Think about if you ordered a cold beer on a hot day, you're going to get condensation on that glass pretty quickly. Well, the same thing happens to our buildings. If we're blasting air conditioning and operating at 70 degrees Fahrenheit on the interior, and the outdoor environment is 95 degrees at 70% relative humidity, our dew point is going to be around 78 degrees. Now, this isn't inherently a problem if we design our building enclosure to control the movement of outside air so that it doesn't get into our cavities in the first place, and we can slow or speed up the movement of vapor through the wall via molecular diffusion. What we want to prevent is the unrestricted movement of hot, humid air moving throughout the interior space or interstitial cavity space and coming into contact with a cold surface at or below the dew point temperature. A little bit of moisture is fine, provided that it can dry out at a fast enough rate and that we aren't inhibiting that drying process. Now, this wasn't a problem in uninsulated or poorly insulated buildings. The air conditioning system was running basically 24/7, and while the energy bills were expensive, the buildings received incidental dehumidification benefits because air conditioning systems are basically dehumidifiers. As long as the air conditioning is running, it's dehumidifying. But the problem nowadays is that we heavily insulate our buildings and have highly efficient air conditioning systems that blast a whole bunch of cold air and then turn off. The interior stays colder for a longer period of time, which cuts the runtime of the air conditioning unit, and you lose those incidental dehumidification benefits. But the interior is still cool, and moisture from the outside air is still getting inside. What do you think that does? It raises indoor relative humidity. Also, there's the fact that the insulation in the walls and the roof will slow down that drying process to the interior if it gets inside the cavity space. In essence, the backside of the drywall or interior finish stays wetter for longer, and that paper facing on your drywall is a lot less resistant to moisture compared to something like plywood or even OSB. Luckily, drywall has something going for it in that it has a very high vapor permeability, so it can dry out, provided that the rate of wetting is controlled and that you're not locating impermeable materials or finishes on the interior side of an exterior wall. Last year, we put out a video on some severe condensation issues a client was having in the hot, humid climate of Okinawa, Japan. Go and watch that video up here, but it's highly relevant to any place in the South or even parts of the northeastern United States during the summertime. But the key takeaway is that air sealing is just as important in warm climates as it is in cold climates, not just for the energy efficiency benefits, but for the condensation control. In order to control air, we have to enclose it. We make these summertime condensation problems so much worse when we locate our air conditioning ductwork and air handling units outside of the conditioned space, like in vented attics or vented crawl spaces, where that hot, humid air can easily come into contact with that cold ductwork. The truth about why this is so common is that most design professionals and contractors didn't actually plan for a dedicated service soffit for the trunk lines and ductwork, and so they figure they can just locate these systems in the unconditioned attic or crawl space. The only way to do this successfully is to design a conditioned attic or crawl space where we're insulating at the rafter level rather than the attic floor, and keeping the attic at the same temperature and relative humidity conditions as the living space, or in the case of a conditioned crawl space, designing it in the same way we would a basement minus the drywall. Let's talk about another problem, overventilation. More ventilation is not necessarily a good thing for indoor air quality or building durability. A problem that we see, especially in the green building or sustainable building industry, whether it's LEED or passive house, is throwing a bunch of ERVs into a building and having them run frequently to promote fresh air circulation. But the problem with this is that we're still moving moisture into the building with that air change. ERVs move both heat and moisture, and if it's more humid outside, we're just going to be pumping more humid air back into the building. If we're doing all this work to design a well-air sealed and conditioned home or building, why the heck would we throw that all away by overventilating? We need air to come in at a regulated rate so that we are controlling the amount of moisture that's added to the air. Nowadays, we need dehumidifiers to fix this problem. Remember, if we reduce the runtime of our air conditioning systems, then we need a supplemental means of moisture removal, especially if we want to ventilate at a high rate. We also want to make sure that we aren't operating at a negative pressure, since this will just pull hot, humid air from the exterior into the building enclosure through air leaks in the envelope. So, if you're dealing with condensation problems or mold problems, and you're in one of these warm climates, focus on the exterior air sealing. This will help to address a lot of your vapor issues. Then make sure that your exterior walls have the ability to dry to the interior from the cavity inwards. That means no impermeable finishes on the interior side, no vinyl wallpapers, no oil-based paints, no plastics or MDF paneling. Then we want to make sure that we're containing our ductwork within conditioned space. Don't let all that hot, humid air inside your interstitial spaces. The ductwork and air handler needs to be contained within the conditioned space to keep condensation from forming. And then we absolutely need supplemental dehumidification. This is your mechanical means of reliable and predictable moisture removal. Guys, if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more weekly building science videos, and head over to our website at asiri-designs.com, where we have over 150 free building science articles that cover a wide range of topics. Links will be in the description below. For now, good luck with your projects. Cheers.